car comes down the road, an old blue hatchback covered in dust. It slows down just as I've decided it's not going to stop. To my mind, that always tells you the driver is struggling with himself. Should he pick you up, or shouldn't he?
My parents were geneticists. They had a firm belief in the power of science to fix anything, to create everything.
I'm pretty good at choosing cars by now. I can usually tell by the way they roll down their window whether to trust the driver or not.
Their original idea was to create an in vitro procedure that would develop identical twins. But they decided twins weren't spectacular enough, weren't enough of a challenge.
But as I lean down and look inside, it seems I may have chose wrong this time. The girl behind the wheel looks like a zombie. Skin falling off, patches of hair missing.
They settled on septuplets. One fertilized egg separated into 7 pieces made 7 sisters, all of us identical. Pleiades, my father used to call us, after the constellation of 7 stars. Where are you going?
LA?
I'm passing by there.
In animation, overlapping is a technique used to seamlessly blur together 2 frames so that you can't tell where one ends and the other begins.
Literary experts adopted the idea of overlapping and applied it to storytelling narratives.
In this context, it's used in a way to make action more captivating in a story.
The idea is that if one story is told through a series of overlapping narratives, it is more clean, cohesive, and most importantly, more magical. Pleiades.
By Anjali Sachdeva.
Even the doctors who delivered us expected us to come out with birth defects.
When we get on the road, we talk a little, but I can tell she doesn't like conversation much.
Without scientific interference, identical twins account for 1 in every 250 live births. Identical triplets, 1 in every 2 million, and fraternal septuplets, 1 in every 4 million. And my sisters and I just couldn't exist. But science made us, and here we are.
She starts peeling the dead skin off her arm, piece by piece, like she's stripping wallpaper. Absent-minded, the way that some people chew their fingernails.
Perhaps it was the circumstances of our creation. Perhaps we were never separate parts, but one of a whole. Perhaps even now, it's no different.
Stop that. What are you doing?
I'm sick. Don't worry, you can't catch it.
Does it hurt?
Usually.
Do you have a doctor or something?
Dozens of them.
Well, I guess they aren't worth a damn, are they?
Our parents never told us which of us was born first. We reached the age of 11 considering ourselves separate in body, but not in anything else. There's an old home video of us on the beach, each wearing matching star-spangled swimsuits, and we moved across the sand like a flock of seagulls, wheeling in each other's movements. One head stopping a fraction of a second before the other so that you couldn't tell where one motion ended and another began. You want to drive?
You should have flown. It would have been better.
It wouldn't. It makes me vomit these days. But besides, now I get to see what's in between New York and California.
I guess I don't like flying much myself. What are you gonna do when you get there anyway?
We were 11 years old, doing a jigsaw puzzle on the floor of our living room. Vesta put a corner piece in the place and then put her hand on the side of her head and said she had a headache. In the hospital, they said that my sister had had an aneurysm, that she was dead. We wanted to argue, but we knew it was true. We could feel it. That night, we laid on the floor of our bedroom, holding on to each other's hair, skin, and calves, terrified of losing one another. For months after, we felt sick, but we thought it was just sadness. We didn't know it then, but for us, there was no such thing as just sadness. That our grief had a life of its own, an invisible mouth that drew us inexorably closer.
We drive and talk about the music on the radio, movies, the weather. She sleeps a lot, her head resting against the window, hands balled together in her lap. A pained look on her face the whole time. I wonder if she's healthy in her dreams, if she's sick or okay in her dreams.
When we were 12 and Lita got pneumonia, she never recovered. We didn't say it to each other, but we were all thinking that one death was a freak accident, but 2 was not. that we were all going to die.
We're near an exit, so we escape after a few minutes and stop at a roadside burger joint for lunch. One of those chains that used to cover the nation, but now only exists in a few godforsaken outposts. She licks the salt off her fries, but doesn't eat them. Just watches me with my hamburger. What's the matter?
I don't eat wheat anymore.
Maybe that's your problem.
You can have these.
She gets down on the ground and starts scratching at the dirt with her fingernails. At first I think she's looking for something, but then I see she's just making a pile of red dust. She digs some more, picks up stone to do a better job, and it keeps working with all her strength. What are you doing? Instead of answering, she picks up the cup off the table and pours half the soda out, mixes it together with the dirt, and starts to stir it together with her straw until it's like pudding. And then she starts spooning the slop into her mouth. Stop that. You're gonna be sick for sure.
A year later, and we lost Io, and the rest of us began developing bruises in places we couldn't remember bumping.
By 8 o'clock, it's dark out.
Oh shit. When Zoe got sick, the rest of us began to consider desperate solutions.
She's asleep, and with nothing but a dark highway, I get tired quick.
And then Cassie.
I find a motel and pull off. She stirs, lifts her head, and puts it back down again.
Wait, why are we stopping?
I'm tired. It's too late to drive.
But I'm in a hurry.
Rest a couple hours, why don't you? It'll do you good. Let me take you home. You're too sick to be doing this.
Then it was me and Helen, and we were terrified and sick all of the time. We began to wonder which one of us would die next, whether it would be better to be dead or alive and alone. And then Helen started having trouble breathing.
How do you expect to get better moving around all the time? Stay in bed a couple of days, why don't you?
I feel my sisters in me and around me, and I know that whatever pain awaits me, letting my parents decide my fate was the worst thing I could do. I don't want to stop. I don't want to rest. I want to drive the whole way tomorrow.
It's gotta be another 18 hours. I don't understand where you want me to
Go,
go.
said Helen. Outrun it. If one of us is left, that's enough.
This is the place?
I think so. I don't remember. It was just an empty boardwalk the last time I was here. This is almost like a date.
I don't date you stubborn girls like you. It's always trouble.
Do you date dead girls? Because I bet that's even worse.
Come on now.
I really thought I was gonna make it.
Who says you aren't?
I want to go to the beach.
Let me help you. We find the stairs that lead to the sand, and before we take 5 steps, the sound and the light from the boardwalk start to fade.
Ghosts with my face surround me. 6 other hearts beat in time with mine.
I put my hand on her back to help her walk. The more time I spend with her, the clearer it is to me that she should die. That death would be good for her.
There is nothing I can give him because nothing I have is mine.
She takes my hand and guides it between the buttons in her shirt, and feeling the bruised part on her chest.
With his hand on my chest, I can almost imagine a life all of my own.
It's even softer than I'd imagined.
He holds me to him, and I am alive wherever his body touches mine.
My hand sinks in until I can feel the bones beneath her skin, and below that, the shuddering of her heart.
This is what I feel all the time, except it's the whole world beating.
We walk down to the water's edge, where the waves brush against her toes.
I slip away from him, and I feel a breeze across my shoulders, and I feel myself dissolve like the salt air could unravel my genetic code like a piece of knitting.
She takes off her shoes and walks into the water before I can stop her.
Walk into the surf, my sisters say. Drink deep, my sisters say.